Hello, welcome to your gentle yoga flow for emotional freedom. Now, for many of us, when we think of emotional freedom, we might think of freedom from our emotions. But today we look at it from a slightly different perspective, that instead of finding freedom from our emotions, we find freedom because of them. Because our emotions are simply energy in motion, energy that moves freely throughout the body. Now, when we, for whatever reason, decide to suppress, decide to ignore those emotions, that energy has nowhere to go. And as a result, it takes up residency within the body, creating tension, creating tightness. So today, as we open through those spaces that tension tends to reside, we start to release some of the somatic memory that perhaps had been stored over time. So as we move through our practice, you're invited to connect breath with movement, noticing perhaps those moments that the breath pattern starts to change. Maybe it becomes a little shorter, a little more shallow, and see if we can continue a steady breath, a low, slow breathing as we move through those areas of tension. That breath is what will help that energy move a little more fluidly throughout the body. So we'll start our practice here. If you have 2 blocks or books, please grab them. If you have a bolster or a pillow that you like to practice, please grab that too. I have linked a Spotify playlist in the description below if you enjoy practicing with music. If not, then that's okay. We're going to come all the way onto our spines here, lying all the way back. And if you are using that playlist today, then I invite you to press play here. So lying all the way back, if you're feeling a little bit vulnerable today, then you're more than welcome to bring that bolster underneath the knees and just allow those hips to move into a really gentle flexion here. We're going to roll the shoulders back and down, let the palms face the sky, and then start to really relax through the body here. Take a breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, closing down the eyes. As you close down the eyes, you start to bring all that awareness that once existed outside of you and start to draw that awareness within you. You feel the weight of the body as it grounds onto the mat. Perhaps you even feel a tingling. The fingers, the toes, the front of the hips, the upper back. And with the eyes closed, see if we can bring that inner gaze to the space between the eyebrows. And as you do, notice that wave of relaxation as it washes over and through you. The forehead, the eyes start to release any tension. The jaw start to soften. The tongue drops away from the roof of the mouth. As you do, your body begins to find a certain softness. The mind finds a stillness. As it does, start to just scan through the body here. Notice how you feel in this moment. Perhaps for the first time in a long time, you even ask yourself, how am I feeling? Perhaps even voicing the response out loud. And then we start here to deepen the breath ever so slightly. Breathing into the belly, expanding the ribs. Exhaling slowly. Finding an anchor in your breath. As we start to set ourselves an intention for our practice today, I allow myself to feel. I find freedom in feeling. And then start to wriggle those fingers, start to wriggle those toes. Maybe even rocking head side to side. Taking a breath in, reach those arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. And as you exhale, start to bring those knees to the chest, maybe even lifting forehead, lifting chest, wrap those palms, those forearms around the shins, rocking side to side, holding here for 2. Good, and 1. We're going to lower the chest, lower the feet down to the ground, finding a bridge pose. Removing that bolster to one side, we'll use it in a moment. Push the feet into the mat, bring hip bones towards the ribs, lengthen that tailbone long and lift those hips high. Feel that gentle opening through the front line of the body as we squeeze and strengthen through the back line. We're going to slide that bolster underneath the hips, lower the hips all the way down, and then bring that right knee into the chest. As you bring the right knee into the chest, we lengthen the left leg out long in front of us. We find that stretch through the left hip flexor. We should feel it around the top of the thigh, around that left hip. Good. Now these hips hold a lot of tension, mainly through a muscle called the psoas, which whenever we find ourselves in that heightened state, starts to engage in preparation for fighting or fleeing. And then when that energy isn't quite utilized, it finds itself stored there. So breathe into that left side, and as you exhale, release some of the memory of the past. I'm going to slowly start to lower that right leg down, change sides. Bring that left knee into the chest, maybe give it a rub before you do. Left knee into the chest, start to lengthen right leg long. Good, reach that right leg nice and long, squeeze that left knee in, and again we breathe into the front of the right leg here for 2. Good, last breath into that space. And exhale, we release any tension from the front of that right leg. We're going to lower the left foot down, bring that right knee to a bend again. Start to push through those feet, lift hips, and then slide that bolster out from underneath us. We can place it to one side, we don't need it yet. Lower the hips down, bring knees into the chest again. Wrap those forearms around, give yourself a rock side to side. Good. And then lower the head down. We're going to drop knees over to the left side here, and then start to reach right arm to the right. Take 2 full breaths in, and exhale, soften that shoulder down. 1 more. Come all the way back through center. Start to drop those knees over to the right hand side. Reach that left arm to the left. We find our second twist. See if we can roll that shoulder, that left shoulder, under, back and down. Find a slightly deeper opening. Last breath. And then exhale, come all the way back through center. Give yourself a rock side to side. Relaxing the chest, the head back down. And then releasing the feet onto the ground. Keep the knees bent here. I'm going to bring right knee into the chest and then start to lengthen right leg up to the sky. Let's point the toe and then flex the foot. Good, start to point the toe, flex the foot, and maybe start to roll through that ankle, finding a little bit of freedom in that joint. Our ankles that quite literally carry us throughout each day. And then we're going to start bending through that right knee, opening that right hip so that the right knee draws to the right ankle crosses over the left thigh. Good. Start to breathe out, push that knee away from you. And then inhale, we start to relax. Exhale, drawing it away. And then relax. 1 more, draw that foot away, or that knee away from you. Start to bring left knee into the chest and squeeze. If this is too much, you lower that foot back down to the ground. It's okay. Or take hold of the thigh instead of the shin. Take a breath in. I'm going to breathe into the outside of that right hip here. And as we do, we start to create just a little bit more space with just our breath and our awareness. You feel that right hip soften for our last breath here. And then we start to lower that left leg down. We lift that right leg back to the sky for a moment, and then we lower left foot to the ground. We repeat with the left side, left knee into the chest, finding our reclined pigeon in a moment. We send that left leg to the sky. We start to flex and point through that ankle. Maybe we even find those circles. Good, start finding that release. Good, and then start to bring left knee out to the left side, cross that left ankle over the right thigh, and then stay here or bring that right knee into the chest. We take a breath in, and we exhale. Breathing into that left side, this time that left hip, giving it that space with that awareness. Last breath. And then start to release the right leg down, lift that left leg back to the sky for a moment. And then start to bend that left leg. Good, we're going to drop knees side to side here. Left and right, windscreen wiper. And then as you come back through center, we bring knees to the chest. We're going to rock and roll to a tabletop or roll onto one side and push your way up. Bring those hands underneath those wrists. Walk those legs back into your tabletop. Your hands are underneath the shoulders and your hips are over those knees. We're going to take a breath in, send tailbone back, drop the belly open, the heart, moving through a few rounds of cat and cow. Now either staying here, exhaling, tuck the tailbone under, bring belly button to the spine, round through the spine, gaze back towards the thighs, or we start to include a rock back and forth. So as we inhale, we open up into that cow pose and we send the hips back to the heels. As we exhale, we round through the spine, we roll forward, shoulders come over the wrists, and then we inhale, send the hips back. We exhale, roll forward. And inhale, roll back. A couple more rounds here, maybe closing down the eyes. Allowing the breath to move you. The body and the breath to unite. Last one here. Rolling forward. And then as we rock back, let's tuck the toes. Let's lift those hips nice and high into our downward facing dog, our first one of the day. We spread those fingers wide, we push into all 10 of those knuckles, and we maybe bring a bend to the knees as we lift the tailbone high, we stretch through the spine, we lengthen through the back line. For 2, possibly pedaling out those knees, bringing one bend at a time. Take another breath in here, maybe soften those heels down to the ground. Straighten out those legs for 2. And on our exhale, we start to walk the hands all the way back to the feet. As we do, we relax that head, maybe tuck chin into the chest for a moment. And then relax. We're going to bend the knees, come to rise here, let those arms hang heavy. Tuck tailbone, tuck chin. All the way to standing, roll the shoulders back and down. Palms face forward. Finding that Tadasana, we lengthen through the spine. Inhale, sweep those arms high. As you exhale, cactus the arms, so open the shoulders. Good, bring those arms down into that cactus. And then inhale, start to reach those arms to the sky. As you exhale, cactus one more time. Beautiful, look forward. We're going to hold here, squeeze shoulder blades together for 3. Good, for 2. And on 1, lift those arms high. Exhale, palms connect. We fold forwards. Roll those shoulders back and down. Inhale, halfway lift. Maybe fingertips rest on the shins here. Pull the shoulders back. And then exhale, lower down. Let's walk the hands forward here into your tabletop once again. Good. Stay here. And from our tabletop, We're going to turn those shoulders out, externally rotate, and then start to bend the elbows. As we do, hips stay high. We pull the chest, the chin towards the front of the mat in that diagonal direction. Beautiful. We start to sweep forward, hips down. Palms push into the mat, elbows pull together. And let's start to find our baby cobra. Use the muscles of the spine. 2. And on 1, lowering down. We're going to take a breath in, lifting high again into that cobra. This time, exhale, push the palms into the mat, pull back, child's pose. Knees nice and wide, and lengthen those arms long. Feel that space in the sides of the rib cage. I want you to inhale, feel the expansion through the ribs. And as you do, perhaps we start releasing some of the tension that we hold in those intercostal muscles. Exhale. Release the breath. We're going to walk the hands all the way back here towards those knees. Bring knees together. You can either stay as you are. If this is not comfortable, you come to a seat or sit up onto a cushion. You stay, I'll turn towards you so you can see me. Take a breath in, sweep those arms to the sky. And as you exhale, bring those hands down through heart center. Release the palms onto the thighs. We're going to bring that chin down to the chest. We're going to roll that right ear over to the right shoulder. Feel that stretch through the left side of the neck. Breathing here. Maybe lift that chin ever so slightly. Maybe even pulling the lower jaw slightly in front of the upper jaw. And as you do, you feel that stretch. You feel that stretch start to move through the neck. I want you to open the eyes, bring the gaze down to the right shoulder. Beautiful. I'm going to change sides here, so bring the gaze back through center, lower chin down through chest, and then all the way over to the left, ear onto the shoulder. Allow that right shoulder to drop away from the ear. Maybe we deepen through that stretch, lifting the jaw ever so slightly. Bring the gaze down towards that shoulder without moving the head. And then exhale, bring the head back through center. Good. Lift the chin away from the chest, roll those shoulders. Good. I'm going to pull myself back. You stay as you are. And then we start to roll forward again. Bring those hands all the way down to the ground. Find that knees, chest, chin again. Moving in that diagonal. Now this time, release onto the ground. Bring the fingertips just a little bit wider. Fingertips to the ground, lift the elbows. Tuck the chin to the chest. Push the hips into the mat. And as we inhale, we start to rise. Start to open the heart to face the front of the room. As we exhale, lowering all the way down. Cobra rolls. Inhale, we start to rise. I want you to imagine pulling that mid-thoracic spine towards the front as you open the heart. Exhale, lower down. Good. Inhale, lift all the way up. Stay here. And as you exhale, lowering down. Good. Now keep the arms as they are. I want that right arm to come into a cactus shape, flat onto the ground. So I'll show you with my left, flat onto the ground. So do so with your right. Now if this is too intense, you bring it into a T shape instead. We're going to bring the right cheek down so we look towards the left. Left arm stays as it is. Right arm is in that cactus or T. Bend the left leg. We're going to roll onto the right hip. And as we do, we feel that stretch through the right shoulder. That left hand is pushing. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. For 2. Breathe into that shoulder. Good, and start to exhale, come all the way back through center. We're going to change sides here. So that left arm comes into either a cactus or a T shape. And that right arm comes back into the tented fingertips. We're going to bend through the right knee, roll onto that left hip, and open through that left side. Relax the head down. Good. Either T or cactus, you get to choose. And as we do, we start to breathe into this space. We start to release that heavy burden that we carry on our shoulders. We start to release the weight of the world we've so stoically carried. We exhale to let it go. A moment of gratitude and of pride for our past selves. We start to lower back down to the belly, to the chest. We're going to bring those palms back behind us. Maybe bring cheek or forehead to the ground. And just start rocking hips, rocking shoulders. For 2. Exhaling. And then start to bring those hands either side of the ribs. Tuck the toes. Let's push all the way back into that downward facing dog. Lift those hips nice and high here. Push through those palms. Find that length in the spine. We hold for 3. Exhaling for 2. Exhaling. Last breath here. Really nice. And then from here, start to lift that right leg to the sky. Good. As you exhale, bring that right knee in towards the nose. Step the right foot forward in between the hand. Good. Now from here, we're going to keep that back knee lifted for the moment. I want you to bring right knee forward, left knee back. Find that length. Now you might want to come up onto blocks here for a little support in opening that front line of the left leg. So lift the chest just a little higher, send that left heel back a little further. Holding here for 3. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to rock. Keep breathing. Notice if that breath shortens and try and lengthen it. Last one. Beautiful. And then start to lower that knee all the way down. Left hand stays, right arm lifts high, twist. Now maybe you want to bring that left hand back down to the ground for a deeper twist. You choose, stay right here or reach back, hold on to that foot. Good. If you're holding the foot, I want you to roll that right shoulder back. See if you can gaze towards the back of your mat. For 2. And then on 1, start to release the foot. Bring that right hand all the way back around. We're going to tuck through the right toes. We're going to tuck through the left toes. Step that right leg all the way back behind us. Take a breath in here. And exhale. Stay 2 more breaths. Last one. And then we repeat left side. Lift that left leg to the sky. As you exhale here, let's bring that left knee into the nose. Step the left foot forward. Keep that right knee lifted for the moment. Bring that left knee towards the front, right heel towards the back. You might want to come onto blocks to bring a little lift to the chest here. Keep the hips low, but the legs long for 3 breaths. You can stay static, you can rock, you get to choose. For 2. Last breath. Good. Start to send that right heel back, lower the knee down. Now that right hand stays where it is or it comes down to the ground, and we lift that left arm towards the sky. Keep rolling that left shoulder back. And then if you want to, only if you want to, reach that left hand back, hold onto that right foot. Stay here, breathe into the front of that right leg. Good. Roll that right shoulder back, opening those 2 places, front of the hip. Front of the shoulders. Last breath. Beautiful. Exhale, lower that right leg down. Untwist here. Bring both hands to the blocks or to the ground. Lift that back knee and step the foot back, coming into your down dog, either on blocks or onto the ground. Take 2 more. You stay here or you lower down child's pose, knees wide, belly falls between the thighs. Relax the head down. One more breath here. And then start to ground those palms. We're going to slowly lift the hips, come all the way back up, tuck the toes, and lift into our downward facing dog. One more standing sequence. We're going to lift the right leg to the sky this time. Let's point the toes. I want you to bend the knee, open up the hips. Now the shoulders stay level here. And as you open the hips, you point the right toes towards the left side. Good. As you exhale, bring the right knee into the nose. You step the foot forward in between the hands. Now we're going to keep the left knee lifted. We're going to sink the hips low and lift those arms up overhead. If you would prefer to keep the back knee on the floor, you can. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, cactus the arms, open the heart. Take a breath in, sweep those arms high. If you have any lower back pain, bend the back knee, lengthen the spine. Exhale, cactus those arms. Beautiful. One more. And then exhale, cactus those arms. Stay here, open that heart. Find a little more space in the parts of the body that perhaps we have previously held a little tightly. 2. And 1, inhale, lift all the way up. Now as we exhale, open that back hip, drop the foot down 90 degrees, warrior 2, bend through the right knee, look towards the right fingertips. Imagine scooping heels towards each other and up through midline, reaching long. Just stay here in this discomfort. Find comfort in the discomfort. You are stronger than you think. One more breath. Beautiful. Now from here, we're going to pivot that left arm underneath. As we pivot onto the ball of the left foot, close those hips, reach arms high. Exhale, cactus, and lower the hands all the way down to the ground. Let's step the right leg back into that downward facing dog. Now you're welcome to stay right here. You're welcome to move through that chaturanga or knees, chest, chin if you wish. Or you're welcome to rest in child's pose. We're going to take one more breath in. Lift that left leg to the sky. Good. Start to bend through that left knee. Keep the shoulders level. They are your anchor here. Find that space in that left hip for 2. And then on 1, we start to bring knee into the nose. We step the foot forward in between the hands. Now sink the hips low. Beautiful. Push through the feet. Let's lift that heart high. As you exhale, cactus those arms. Inhale, lift those arms. Exhale, cactus. Good. Feel that opening through the front of the shoulders and the front of the right leg. Let's lift high. As we exhale, let's cactus and hold here. Pull the shoulders back. Stay. Breathe into that heart space. As we exhale, we release that tension we're holding in the body. Inhale, lift those arms. Exhale, open to our warrior 2. Right foot points towards the side. Left knee bends. Reaching those left fingertips long. Just allow yourself here to feel, to breathe into discomfort. For 2. And on 1, let's bring that right arm underneath, pivot on the right foot, lift both hands high. And as you exhale, cactus arms. Lower all the way to the ground. Bring both palms down, step that left leg back. We're going to find a child's pose, knees out wide, feet underneath the hips. Lengthen those arms long. Find those slow, low breaths. Notice the fizzing, the vibrating, the beating of your heart.
Allow your breath to move through you, the energy to move through you. And in this moment, maybe once again, just checking in. How are you feeling? And then when you're ready, starting to roll forward into your tabletop. Moving into a pigeon pose, either from a tabletop or from a downward facing dog, you get to choose. Either way, that right knee comes just behind the right wrist. We open up the hip and bring the foot behind the left. If this is too intense, you find the same variation we started with on the spine. Start to walk the left toes back behind us. As you do, the hips soften. If you want to bring a block under the right hip, if it's lifted, you're more than welcome to. We're going to bring fingertips nice and wide here, wider than the mat, and slowly start to lower the chest. On your inhale, lift the heart. Rolling back, open the shoulders. And then exhale, lower down, maybe to forearms, maybe to the ground. And just allow yourself to exist in a bit of stillness here. As the breath starts to slow down, so does the heart rate. And as they do, perhaps the whispers of the body are trying to communicate with you, trying to move through you. One more breath here. Starting to inhale, lift the chest. Bring hands down underneath those shoulders, tuck the left toes, and then start to walk or step that right leg back. Either tabletop or downward facing dog, you choose. And we're going to slowly step the left leg forward. Second side. Left knee behind the left wrist, right foot walks back. If you want to bring a block under that left hip for a bit of height, please do. We're going to bring fingertips a little wider. Take a breath in, open the heart. And as we exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift all the way up. And then exhale, lower down. Forearms to the ground. Or maybe chest to the ground. And just breathing through that left hip. Allow that breath to remain long and slow. Try and remain as an observer in this moment. Noticing, maybe even naming out loud. And then detaching enough to let that experience move through you freely. Allowing yourself to find freedom with it. And then start to bring those forearms back down to the ground. Lift the chest. We're going to sit onto the left side. Bring that right leg all the way around. Bring both feet parallel to each other, palms behind you, and just drop knees side to side. We're going to come all the way onto the spine here. So bringing knees back through center. Starting to roll onto the spine, bring those knees to the chest. And then either taking a closing twist or just stay here, rocking hips side to side. Starting to lengthen those legs out long. Releasing those palms either side of you, finding a Shavasana. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want, as long as you need. If you need to rush off, then maybe staying for a few breaths more. Allowing those new energies to integrate themselves. As you do, just begin to notice that sense of freedom in both the physical and the energetic body. That lightness.
reminding yourself of your intention you set at the start. Thank you so much for joining this practice, and I hope to see you again soon.